Hello, and welcome back. This is my series where I tell you more about the Empyrean Lords. We go very much in detail with their involvements in the world of Atreya, and also cover some rumors about them. This time we cover the Empyrean Lord of Wisdom, Lady Lumiel. As the title indicates, she is symbolized by wisdom, and that fits her connection to the sorcerer class. Now I gotta be honest, I personally am not a huge fan of her visual appearance in the game. It seems a bit too much into the direction of very young Korean ego fantasy for me. A while ago I also planned on making a video with AI, where I simply describe the Empyrean Lords in Aion and see what picture the AI generates with that description. This is what the AI came up with, and I actually like this so much more than we have in the game for Lumiel. But despite me not being a fan of her visual appearance, I do actually like how she is portrayed in many other aspects of the game. One of these examples is her card. The book that represents her wisdom, the blue flames that show her incredible ability to channel ether, and the dark aspects of the card that show that she is not just a cheerful young girl. To explain it a bit better, we have to learn more about Lady Lumiel first. Despite her youthful and innocent appearance, the wise Lady Lumiel understood the nature and essence of ether better than anybody else. Her ability to channel ether is still unparalleled, and as a result, she has the strongest magical power in all of Atreya. Long before the cataclysm, in the ancient Atreya, Lady Lumiel was best friends with Lady Ariel, the Lady of Light, and Lady Siel, the Lady of Life. All three of their powers combined could stabilize all calamities and disasters in both Elysia and Asmodee. In the past, the three were looked upon as the very symbol of Aeon's divinity, and they guided Atreya to great prosperity. Then the Peace Treaty Council happened, and with that the Empyrean Lords were divided between Lady Ariel, who wanted to stop the war with the Balor, and Lord Azphel, who wanted to get rid of the corrupt and brutal Balor instead of making peace with them. To everyone's surprise, Lady Lumiel sided with Lord Azphel instead of one of her best friends, Lady Ariel. Nobody really knows what made Lady Lumiel side with Lord Azphel instead of Lady Ariel, but we do know that this was what broke the friendship between the two. Lady Siel is the most torn because of their broken friendship. She did side with Lady Ariel during the peace treaty, but she still holds no grudge against Lady Lumiel, and Lady Lumiel seems to reciprocate this. The cataclysm changed Lady Lumiel. Before it, she was curious, innocent, and even mischievous. But since then, she has withdrawn and has become more of a mysterious figure that takes the situation in Atreya very serious. She has become Asmodee's leader in technology, research, and development. She also created the Temple of Knowledge, which is basically a library, and formed a new legion called the Wisdom Orb Legion. She has gathered a large following of scholars, prophets, and professors, and Munin is one of those followers. For those that do not know, Munin is the person that helps the Asmodean player in their journey to ascend as a Deva. He is basically the counterpart to what Pernos is on the Ilios side. But let's get back to Lady Lumiel now. 250 years after the cataclysm, the Deltras incident happened, which then became the start of the Abyss War. Both factions, Ilios and Asmodeans, wanted to establish a foothold in the Abyss. The Asmodeans were faster and conquered the fortress of the Balor, but they did not have much time to celebrate, because the Ilios, led by the now Seraphim Lord Kaizinel, attacked them, trying to conquer the fortress for the Ilios. The exhausted Asmodean troops already were at a disadvantage, but having an Empyrean Lord at their opposing side made them soon realize their upcoming defeat. Lord Kaizinel himself dashed through the army of Asmodeans with ease, slaughtering everything in his path. But as the despair of the Asmodeans grew, another lord appeared. It was Lady Lumiel. She has triggered an ether trap that not only sent dozens of Ilios falling into the endless abyss, but also pushed Lord Kaisenel back. The Ilios and Lord Kaisenel had to retreat after this trap. The Asmodeans cheered and celebrated their Lady Lumiel as their savior. Since this incident, Lady Lumiel and Lord Kaisenel have fought multiple times, and usually she seems to get the better of him, which makes Lord Kaisenel burn to take his revenge. After pushing the Ilios back, Lady Lumiel helped with constructing and reinforcing the Primum landing, the Asmodean base in the Abyss. After that, she let the other lords and their devas take care of the Abyss War, while she seeked to restore Brustonin and ultimately finding the secret behind the mysterious contamination. Brustonin is the PvE zone for the Asmodeans, similar to Theobomos for the Ilios. Brustonin was once the breadbasket of Atreia, but this changed after the cataclysm when the Balaur led by the Balaur Lord Beritra attacked Brustonin. After days of brutal fighting, the very strong Red Sky Legion managed to successfully drive the Balaur out of Brustonin. But this was not the end, as Beritra planted an evil seed, a tiny fragment of his malice, inside a member of the Red Sky Legion. This contamination slowly spread and turned the people into undead, and the land itself into a desolate, lifeless wasteland. Both Lord Marketon and Lady Lumiel tried to find a solution for this curse of Beritra, but so far no plan of theirs had succeeded. After the end of the Abyss War, Lady Lumiel created the Pandemonium Research Center and studied the secrets behind the nature and power of Drana. She had invented both the Galkmaros crystal and the ether restoration devices to help the Asmodeans in this unknown land. Up to this point, everything is true for both versions of Aion, classic and retail. Let's now look at what more retail Aion can tell us about Lady Lumiel, and later we'll look into the new Aion classic. A few patches later, Lady Lumiel along her researchers seek to unlock the secrets of Eid and Aigel, a new resource in Catalam and Danaria. After a while, they finally gained an understanding of Eid as an energy source, and with that understanding, they managed to create ether pistols and ether cannons. Lady Lumiel also was in Lacrum with one of her legions, doing some research, but there are not really many details about it. And now in Afsoranta, Lady Lumiel also led the Asmodean troops, while Lady Yustiel, her former best friend, led the Ilios troops in Afsoranta. As I mentioned before, neither of them holds a grudge against the other, so instead of brutally fighting each other, both factions could breathe a sigh of relief as the focus shifted to the resources of the area and crafting recovery potions and similar things. Now let us talk a bit about Lady Lumiel in Aion Classic. There's actually not that much to say, other than they have added a collectible puzzle picture of her and added two transformations, the Lumiel transformation and the Lumiel's Apostle transformation. Both of these are simply transformations that change the visual appearance of your character without any gameplay impact. It got added as a small event, but story-wise, Lady Lumiel had no impact in Classic Aion this far. These were all the main story involvements of Lady Lumiel in both Aion Classic and Aion Retail, but there is more to be known about her. She is mentioned in multiple side quests and storybooks. For example, in an Asmodean quest, we hear the phrase Lumiel smile. One day, Lady Lumiel held a dinner for the greatest scholars and researchers in Asmodee. She held up an emperor blossom and asked what it meant to them. Upon hearing their answer, which is long forgotten by now, Lady Lumiel smiled. Since then, people say that her wisdom is embodied in the emperor blossom. Many people have since tried to understand the significance of the emperor blossoms and what Lady Lumiel tried to show them with this question. Something we haven't talked about yet is Lady Lumiel's relic. It is a bird, or more precisely a swallow. Swallows are often seen as symbols of love, loyalty, hope, new beginnings, and the promise of return. Aion very often uses these symbolizations of objects and animals to hint at the personality of different characters and the reasoning for their actions. If this is the case with Lady Lumiel and what the swallow represents, we simply do not know yet. Maybe we'll find out more in the future and then look back at this and realize why it is so fitting for her personality or her reasoning. As I already mentioned, Lady Lumiel was very mischievous before the cataclysm. She liked to play pranks on others, and due to her having such a great magical power, her understanding of what is okay and what is simply too much is a bit extreme for normal people. In the Archdeva storybook is a nice entry. In Lady Lumiel's quarters, an angry voice could be heard. It was the Empyrean Lord Azphel, and he said, "What in Aeon's name is Israel thinking? No matter how long the war has been going on, how can he consider a peace treaty? Those heretics deny the sanctity of Aion, and if we enter a treaty with them, what then are the sacrifices of the Devas and humans over the past 1000 years?" It doesn't really tell us anything in detail, but could maybe be a hint that the two lords were at good terms before the cataclysm, which was certainly not the case for all the Empyrean lords. Or it could hint that they were agreeing on their viewpoints even early on in the peace talks. Maybe that is why Lady Lumiel ultimately decided to side with Lord Azphel. And lastly, I want to mention that Lady Lumiel has also multiple legions under her command, and one of these is the Wisdom Orb Legion. Every legionary of it is female. But no, it is not exclusively female. Everyone can apply, but the applicants must meet Lady Lumiel's standards for excellent ability and a good personality. And no man has ever done that. I was a bit unsure if I should add this to the video because it sounds a bit weird. Like there is really not a single man with excellent abilities and a good personality? Sounds more like a personal preference to me, but who knows. And that is pretty much everything we know about the Empyrean Lord of Wisdom, Lady Lumiel. Now if you want to learn more about the specific topics I covered today, I will link everything in the description. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them here in the comments or in our Discord server. In the description you can also find the links to the videos of the other Empyrean Lords. Or, if you're watching this very early on, feel free to vote in our Discord server on who we should do next. Have a wonderful day and see you in the next one. Bye!